Guys, it's your girl Mercy and you're welcome back to the channel. This video I'm about to show you guys are very educational and they expose how deeply ingrained some white Americans' fear and resentment really are. I know most white people won't like this, but here is what I have to say. Somebody has to speak the truth, and maybe, just maybe, if it's coming from one of their own, it will finally make sense. So let's watch this together, then I'll share my own thoughts.
You know, a white person said something to me the other day that shocked me. Not really, but it kind of did, coming from this individual, because they were actually being honest. Usually all they do is gaslight and bullshit, but they actually had a breakdown and had an honest moment. When we were talking about race in America, she said, "I don't think black people deserve equality and justice because they could never get enough." And I realized, for the first time I've ever talked to this person about race, she was actually being brutally honest. And I also realized this is the psyche of white America. Not all, but for the majority. Most of white America have always been scared of black and brown folks getting justice, getting equality, getting what's fair, because they want to hold and cling on to white supremacy so dearly, that system that protects their privilege, that dominant hierarchy position of whiteness. That being said, I'm going to say something and I want you to let it set. I just want you to sit with it. Let it settle into your consciousness. Just let it set with you for a while before you get into your feelings, into your denial, into your ignorance, into your delusion racially. Just let it set and listen. Until we fix white supremacy, everything we do as a nation will fail. Why does America keep voting against its own self-interest? Why do we continue to do things that undermine our very well-being? White supremacy is the living, festering cancer, devouring our nation from the inside out. It's the toxic force behind every backward policy. The exact reason we're so stunned and shamefully far behind other developed nations. White supremacy, the very thing white America claims to despise, yet simultaneously denies, gaslights about, actively avoids, and utterly ignores, all while perpetrating racism. The reason this country keeps voting against its own damn self-interest, the reason we consistently shoot ourselves in the foot, is brutally simple. Pure terrified fear of a black and brown nation. Fact. This isn't new. This isn't just about today. This is history's cruelest loop. We love white supremacy. We embrace slavery. We clung to Jim Crow. We have always chosen to poison our own wells rather than allow an ounce of equality. This obsession breeds internal hate, forces us into a blind, ignorant delusion. It has weaponized us against each other. White against white, race against race, culture against culture. This is the profound damage to your psyche, your society. We'd rather bleed our own nation dry, sacrifice our cities, our health, our economy, our global credibility, than loosen one pathetic finger from white privilege. You thought you could weaponize white supremacy to justify your own greed, to hoard power. All you've done is destroy yourselves and your own fucking nation. Imagine a nation so diseased by racism, so desperate to cling to its twisted sense of white superiority. It would rather self-destruct, rip apart its own democracy and watch its citizens suffer and die. That nation is America. Face the ugly fucking truth. Look at what we've done. Cutting Medicaid, slashing SNAP, sacrificing the vulnerable for billionaire tax breaks, abandoning humanitarian aid, annihilating our global standing, our very morality, actively suppressing votes, tearing down our democracy, building the world's largest prison system, shattering families, all because of the white man's greatest, most pathetic fear, that black and brown people might actually be treated fairly. Our air is poisoned, our infrastructure is collapsing, our schools are failing, all because we'd rather cling to archaic, racist structures that build a decent, functional society for ourselves. Understand this, we aren't just hurting black and brown communities. No, we are actively killing ourselves as a nation. Our racism has so corrupted us, we'd choose a pedophile felon to run the country simply because he was a racist strongman. We are willingly plunging into fascism, sacrificing our fundamental liberties and economic equality, all because we choose white supremacy over freedom. Every damn bit of it for the sake of the ignorant, hateful disease festering in our hearts. So white America, hear this. Stop being cowards. Look into the fucking mirror. This cancer of white supremacy is consuming us. If you don't tear it down, if you don't confront this fear, you will watch this nation die. Your nation, our nation. The time for denial is over. The time to choose is now. I'll say it again. Until we fix white supremacy, everything we do as a nation will fail. Fact.
It might be because I'm neurodivergent, but it takes a while for me to notice certain taboos. I recently, within the past couple weeks, found another taboo topic. Specifically, white people don't really like to talk about systemic racism or really anything to do with race, period. Because the past couple weeks, I had been listening to this video series on YouTube. It's called Crash Course Black American History. And I really like it. And I've been really into it the past couple weeks to the point where I'm like, have you listened to this? Well, you should listen to it. So I was at work and it was only other white people there. That was the thing. We were talking about things that we were listening to, and I told them what I was listening to. Crash Course Black American History. Everybody should listen to it. That's the gist of what I said. I just basically said that it was really educational, and people could learn a lot from it, and Americans should listen to it. Immediately, the room got really silent and tense, and I was like, oh, I guess this is a topic we don't talk about? I kind of wonder if it's like maybe white people kind of want to hide the truth or like not talk about it because it'll make them feel too guilty. But from my like neurodivergent perspective, I think that these emotions aren't necessarily a bad thing and they should come up when we learn about this stuff. And the whole point is to like educate ourselves and then process whatever emotions come up however they need to in our own little, bubble. And then when we're ready to, we all get back together, every single one of us, and we collaborate and we're like, hey, we never want that to happen again. So how do all of us, take steps forward together and create something better for all of us? I feel like that's kind of like a no-duh way of thinking. And so then I bring up, and I feel like I bring it up in a socially appropriate way where it's just like, yeah, I've been listening to this. But still, like every single time I bring the topic up around white people, they get uncomfortable. It almost like frustrates me because I'm like, why is this such a taboo topic? Because even when I bring up topics like feminism or disability rights or something along those lines, it's even a little bit more accepted. I'll still be able to have normal conversation, but the moment that I bring up systemic racism, issues that we have with race, or like the history of Black Americans, all of a sudden, the room gets weirdly tense and it's weird. I think we should start having uncomfortable conversations. This is important for like everybody. And I also understand in the example that I brought up, it was at work, but still, like, I've just noticed that as a pattern in general, like, anytime I bring it up, most white people get really uncomfortable. I just think we're ready to move past that,
What wakes white people up from racism? It does happen. It doesn't happen often. Here are 8 ways that it can happen. This is a common one. Number 1, personal loss or betrayal. Sometimes it hits close to home, like with Arno McKellis, who was deep into white supremacy until the birth of his daughter shook something loose. He saw the world through her fresh eyes, and he couldn't unsee what he had built. That's not uncommon. A personal stake makes it hard to look away. Now, a lot of people have told me that, yeah, they'll only do it if it benefits them. Well, that's true for every human being on earth. We tend to do the things that benefit us. Number 2, having a relationship with a person of color. Daryl Davis is a Black musician who sat down with KKK members, not to convert them, just to talk. He would say, how can you hate me since you don't even know me? Over 200 people left the Klan. Many of them handed their robes over to Daryl, just by realizing, oh, this person is someone I like, but I was taught to hate them. That messes with somebody. Number 3, public humiliation or accountability. Remember Amy Cooper, Central Park Karen, calling the cops on a black bird watcher? She got dragged through the mud publicly. She lost her job immediately. We don't know if she's changed. I read an article that she wrote a couple of years ago. She was still very defensive at that point. A whole lot of white folks saw themselves in that video, and not in a good way. Number 4, witnessing state violence or injustice. The murder of George Floyd wasn't new, but it was undeniable. It was clear as day in that video. Millions of people of all races finally saw what black folks had been saying for generations. For some, that moment broke through the fog. Number 5, cognitive dissonance. That's when your beliefs and your experiences don't line up and your brain starts itching. Tim Wise grew up in the South. He watched black classmates face harsher punishment than white ones for the same stuff. That stuck with him, and he could have ignored it, but instead he leaned in, and now he does anti-racism work. Number 6, faith, ethics, or core values. Some white people wake up because their conscience won't shut up. Reverend Elizabeth Eaton, the head of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, publicly called white supremacy a sin and pushed her mostly white denomination to deal with its role in racism. That's what real values look like in practice. Number 7, education and repeated exposure. Books, podcasts, documentaries, TikToks, Instagrams. It's not just the one thing that does it. It's the pattern. It's having that person that you like at work saying something about it. It's that neighbor who says something in passing. If someone gets the message often enough, the truth starts to add up. A lot of folks credit books like White Fragility or How to Be an Anti-Racist for helping them name what they already felt but couldn't explain. Number 8, a crisis of identity. Sometimes whiteness just doesn't deliver. It promises things like safety, status, clarity, and delivers anxiety, loneliness, anger, defensiveness, confusion. That's what led Christian Picciolini, a former neo-Nazi, to leave all that behind. He was chasing power and found emptiness. And that kind of a crash can be the start of something better. Waking up is hard. Staying awake is even harder. But if you've started, keep going. If you're still asleep, time to set an alarm. I'm not an expert. I'm an avid learner, and you can be one too. If you'd like to support my work, if you could share from any of those buttons on the side, that would be fabulous. If you'd like to donate a little more to keep my work going, please consider a donation of any amount to my Ko-fi account at coffee.com/Kelly Snyder. And spelling is important. You can also click the link in my bio. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Get curious.
You can do something about it, but none of your options include speaking down to a person of color as though you have any knowledge of what it means to experience racism. Defending yourself is a natural response to being called out for anything, especially for when it's being racist. But defending yourself by saying you have black friends or mocking a person of color by saying they're playing some mythical race card just isn't going to work out real well for you. It actually accomplishes the complete opposite of what you're trying to do. The best option is to just be quiet and listen, maybe even ask a question. So yeah.
Although it may be shocking, a lot of racists genuinely believe they are good people, and here are the top 5 ways they try to convince themselves it's true. Number 1, when they're called out, instead of taking accountability for their actions, they simply blame the person who accused them. They didn't do anything wrong. In fact, the other people are being sensitive and they are a good person, so therefore they can't possibly say anything racist. Number 2, by leaning heavily into cognitive dissonance. You don't know, cognitive dissonance is when you have 2 conflicting beliefs and that creates discomfort in someone. So they have to either change one of their 2 beliefs so that they can coexist without the person feeling overwhelmed. So instead of being like, oh, I am racist, I should stop being racist, they're like, oh, actually, I am a good person and what I said wasn't racist, so that they can balance it out. Number 3, by leaning on their racist friends for validation. this one's pretty self-explanatory. Number 4, by blaming woke culture as a whole for the reason that they have been called out, because they couldn't possibly do anything wrong. It must be a societal problem. And number 5, by playing into the reverse racism myth. Not only am I not racist, but actually you are being racist to me as a white person, because that is the real.
I'm white, but I'm not responsible for the decisions of white people in the past. However, if I ignore the systematic residual leftover oppression and I allow that to continue, now I am responsible. White people love saying, I didn't own a slave. Doesn't matter. What matters is the residual effects of slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, gentrification, war on drugs. The residual effects of that have been passed down generation to generation. And if you don't stop that ball from rolling, that's what you're responsible for. It's real fucking easy to say, I didn't do it. I tell my children this all the time. If one of my children pushed down his or her sibling, I will get them all in trouble, because I'll say, you know what, you shouldn't have pushed her down, and you over here, you should have went and helped her up, because I don't care if you didn't push her down, but you also didn't help her up. You're just as guilty as the one who pushed her down. Stop telling me what you didn't participate in and start telling me how you are participating and stopping the ball from rolling.
So let's be clear, wanting justice, safety, and equality is not asking for too much. It's the bare minimum. And all of this opinion reflects a mindset that a lot of people quietly hold on to but rarely say it loud. And until racism and white supremacy is truly dismantled, America will keep hurting itself, because no nation can thrive while denying justice to the very people who built it, and also denying basic rights to the people it's oppressed for centuries. Now, that's all I can say about this for today. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. I will see you in the next one. Bye.